Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dear FiComm, where we provide feedback and answers to the questions you submit to the website. Jake, hello. I'm making this video for you. Jake Nuno is a CFP who wrote in asking for some feedback on his bio. So let's talk about how to write a really good bio as a financial advisor, specifically giving feedback to Jake. So Jake is saying in his question here that he wants to write his bio more specifically for his audience, that he's really trying to retarget it and rewrite it. So that's awesome, Jake. Doing work on your bio is a great way to make a high impact because as an advisor, your bio is showing up across your digital presence. So let's talk about that today. There are some best practices I could share with everybody here that's watching, and also Jake looking at what you've submitted here. So Jake sent in a Dropbox file, which I love. Thanks for showing us your draft, Jake. You don't always have to show us your finished work. You can always write into Dear FiComm with the draft you're working on. So Jake shared a rough bio at the start, and then on page 2, his LinkedIn version comes through. So Jake, some of what I love that I'm seeing is some descriptive language, and also you've added a personal note, right? So toward the end of your bio, you talk about your family, your 2 fur puppies, you enjoy traveling and gardening and watching movies. I also enjoy gardening. I enjoy watching movies. So when I see things like you have puppies and where you live and that you are a gardener, these are always really good details to include in a bio because it touches on the personal side of your life and might create connection for folks, things they want to talk about. I also really love some of the vivid language you're using, like Jake's magnetic personality is a perfect fit for his podcast. Some of the language, I saw your personality come through, and I would actually give you some feedback that you could amp that up. Like, use very vivid words. I know you have this magnetic personality, so let it shine through in your word choice, okay? Give a skim across your bio and say, where can I add some personality words, words that I might use on a day-to-day basis, and infuse your bio with that. One thing I do see as an opportunity and is definitely a best practice when writing a bio is to lead with some human connection. If you look at bios of kind of the old school format, oftentimes a bio leads with professional details and almost like credibility, but that's not necessarily the trend of the modern consumer. We're really looking for human connection, and we have shorter attention spans as time goes on. So lead with a high impact human connection, heart to heart part of your bio. You do get into that in some of your bio currently, like your story about growing up in a small town and being a first generation college student and how you witnessed the anxiety of like a transition and you wanted to help other people navigate transitions like that. It's a really nice point. I think you could actually maybe bring some of your human connection to the start and really help me as a reader connect to you right off the bat. This sets the tone. It helps me care about you quickly and connect with you as a human first. And then later on, you can mention your credibility elements if you'd like to. Second point I'd like to make after bringing that human connection to the front is to think about your target audience. So that's the nature of your question that you submitted in. And I do have a couple questions to pose back to you. If that is your target audience, you do mention that within the bio, right? You mentioned that you are specialized in working with young wealth builders and also widowers. So you mention that, but why? So it's one thing to come out and say these descriptive words. It's another to connect with person who's feeling those things, going through it, and speaking directly to them through some of your bio details. So if I am a recent widower and I am shopping around for a financial advisor who can help me, what would you like to say to me? It's not just that you help widowers and leaving that as a fact, but maybe speak to me. Maybe write your story, right? When we talk about your human story here, to a widower, right? So the fact that you grew up in a small town, the fact that you're a first generation college student and you experienced the stress of the finances there, how does that relate to me? There is an answer, but please be explicit about that in your bio. Every time you write a bio, you should be thinking about the person who's reading it and write it for them. Don't just write a bio. It's like, okay, here are my details. And so here's what I should say in a bio. Think about the reader, your exact who. If they are a recent widower, they're looking for help, what are they feeling? What are they seeking in an advisor? And what would they love to hear come from you? One way you can sometimes do this is practice speaking about yourself to a camera instead of trying to write it down. And trying to craft a bio, it can seem a little disconnected. But if you imagine yourself on a Zoom call with a recent widower and you want to introduce yourself, what do you start to say? That's a really good way to get through some of the language that's more authentic to you and authentic to your story. My last point that I wanted to share with you is actually that I loved some of your LinkedIn energy, and I would wonder, could we bring some of this LinkedIn energy to your primary bio? So you say, I begin my process with an open ear and a blank notepad. I have no prescribed formula that I apply to each client situation. I can hear you speaking when you write this, and it sets you apart. You're coming out with the truth about how you work, and it sounds exciting to a reader. So this energy here, I wonder if you could bring it into the more polished version, it seems, of your bio at the top. So this is a tone shift. It's a little bit more of your voice. It's a little bit more of shorter sentences that pack a punch. That feels more like your energy and your authentic tone. So play around with that and see how that goes. My only other thought that came to mind, Jake, is let's try to have a shorter version of the bio. So this is a nice long one. It is 5 paragraphs. Do you have a short snippet version? Perhaps just a 5-sentence bio instead of a 5-paragraph bio. That'd be great to see here as another option. So you can copy and paste it and use it across digital assets for yourself and also for the firm. I hope some of these comments, coaching, and feedback were helpful to you, Jake. Thank you so much for writing into Dear FiComm. If you're also watching this and you want a little bit of feedback on something you're working through, go ahead and click the link below this video. We offer this as a free way to engage with FiComm and get some of our input on what you're doing. My name is Carolyn Dalle-Molle, and I can't wait to see you in another episode of Dear FiComm.